What is up?
Good morning.
Hey, hey, hey. No, I opened up our repo and now I can't find the tab it's in.
Oh. There used to be an actual tool to search in tabs.
Annoying.
You could just duplicate, like open a new one.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. I mean, that's why computers have like 266, like 56 gigabytes of memory now, so you can open 200 tabs.
Well, unfortunately, browsers are not efficient at using and releasing memory.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. You need like 1 gigabyte per tab, roughly. So
Yeah. And between Chrome and Firefox, I probably have 70 to 80 open tabs.
There's an open source project called The Great Suspender that will suspend your tabs for you while you're not using them, just for the record.
Well, I found like for Chrome, I was using something. I can't remember what the tool was, but I had the ability to like save all my tabs as like one bookmark. And then I could click that and it would explode it out whenever I needed it.
Tab session manager?
Something like that. It was like Tably or something. And I have something for Firefox, but it's not awesome.
For Chrome, you can group tabs together and create groups if you just click on it. If you can actually select them. Like if you click on a tab and shift, click on the other, they're all highlighted. Right click, create new group.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll do that.
I use that quite a bit. It's quite nice.
That'd be better than a third-party tool that just kind of sits there and soaks up more memory. Yeah, I have like 128 gigs of RAM and my machine is still slow as shit.
Yeah, I try to keep it under 30. Otherwise, it's just like you said, right? It gets sluggish for some reason. It's just like.
Well, like I have a group for each working group, and then I've got a bunch of work stuff, and then I have personal stuff. So it's like,
Indeed. It's insane, right? Laptops now can actually like decode the genome, but you can't like open 6 Gmail.
Right. Right.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
The best Firefox joke I have to share is that Firefox historically has no hardware acceleration. So this guy on GitHub named El Farto did it for them. So now we have a package that's by El Farto because that's his legitimate name on GitHub.
That's good. Yeah. So it looks like it's just us 3 today. I don't have much on the agenda for today, except maybe like Chrome is already aware, but Randall, just like to be explicit about it, I'm going to be slowly ramping down my my commitment to OpenSSF.
Oh, okay. Well, sad face.
Yeah, essentially, like other priorities are taking over for my work as well as like other situations. So,
fair.
Oh,
yeah. My work has no idea how much time I spend on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not a huge situation, like a time commitment, but it's big enough to like drain a little bit, and like the end of year is coming up. And well, I don't know what 23 is going to look like at this point, so I'm just like erring on the safe side.
Well, if there's anything I can help with, Francis, please let me know, because you know my job has very little oversight. So
this is recorded, you know.
Yes, as the guy on recording.
Well, that would require for Gen 2 to actually think something that we actually do something at OpenSSF. because they think we're like the Rotary Club, that we just sit here, eat lunch, and get lectures.
Go for lunch, man. Kind of hungry.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
I guess I do have one request, Randall, like, and for you and Crobe, essentially, like if you can own the section 3 until someone else steps up, like there are a few good candidates I'm sure you're aware of that like might be good folks to ask. So let me know if you would like my assistance with that. Otherwise, I trust your judgment on that. But essentially, that would be the big thing.
And for the PSERT plan, we're close to winding down and actually presenting. So the actual section 3 will kind of disappear a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll get woven into a plan. So yeah, between Randall and myself, I'll shepherd, and we'll find somebody if we get a volunteer to kind of finish up the like estimates on costs. But I think that's really the only thing that's kind of missing here. We got to flesh out some recruitment tasks. But I took your model, and that's the model I'm using for PSERT SIG and the education SIG.
Perfect.
So that's I like it. And then once we get into the project actual execution, we'll leverage the GitHub project Kanban board to kind of track tasks. And we're going to, for every milestone, there's going to be an issue filed that we can kind of tie everything together. So it'll you've helped lay a very good foundation down for us.
That's good. Thank you. But yeah, my one warning with GitHub projects is it's a flat space. Be aware of that whenever you want to try to use it for multiple projects. It may get hairy.
Well, and education SIG is going to have their own. And it's the Kanban is good enough for now. When we get it, when we hire the program manager, that'll be their problem to figure out how they want to do project tracking and reporting.
Very true.
I'll just be an advisor by then.
You need a bigger chair.
I know.
Cool. But yeah, that would be my one thing to mention. And yeah, Randall, thanks again for
we got your back, Francis. Always.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, like I'm still going to be lurking on the Slack channel.
Cool.
Because it's fun.
Well, and eventually, as this starts to ramp up, when we start to get volunteers, I'll ping you again to see if we can get some Google participants. I know we wanted to talk to, is it the Ghost team within Google, the actual PSERT type people, just to kind of get their perspective on open source.
Just to be, and like not to correct you, but Ghost is really about like developing tools to raise the ecosystem, like to raise the security of the ecosystem. They're not necessarily a PSERT team.
So we would like to find people in the PSERT that, not like Matt Linton, who's an IR PM, but actual like PSERT people that have helped kind of establish the team and kind of their learnings for, what they liked, what they don't like about interacting with the ecosystem will be helpful.
Yeah. I mean, Matt is a manager for like some of the IR teams. So he's already,
promo?
He's always, let's call it a promo. It's more of a, now you have reports.
Was his excellence punished? If you see him, tell him I said, hey.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. I get to interact with him more than needed, but in a good way. So yeah, for the record. But yeah, Matt's also a good person, but like just ping me whenever things ramp up again. Like I will definitely like fan out these requests and recruit folks internally if need be. It shouldn't be a problem. I think we have a lot of awkwardly passionate people.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool. Is there anything we need to do from your perspective, aside from filling in a couple milestones and then those estimates for section 3? Anything we need to be aware of?
I think that the estimates is probably the next thing. Like I see 3 upcoming tasks for the section 3 before like really pausing it almost. First one would be to look into like the request for headcount for hiring for that TPM that you said section 3 should look into. That's probably the highest priority. Essentially just drafting up, okay, we need a TPM, we need a program manager for this. Second one is definitely doing like reviewing the discussion that we've had with the tool suggestions and
Yeah.
select one or two, maybe three. But I would suggest we just pick one and explore this deeper, and actually like we can then generate more expectations and like estimates on involvement. That's really the three things I see.
And I think while we're waiting for like the process to be documented and that type of stuff, I think we probably, if we can get some good volunteers, do some show and tell. Like Randall suggested, should I set one of these tools up in a container just to kind of poke at it to see?
I already did.
Nice. But then maybe we do some show and tells with a larger group saying, hey, here's some options. We like this, we don't like that.
I was gonna ask, do you want me to add my estimates on like if there's a Docker container and if it's easy to set
Put
up?
that in the comments.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
please.
then
Yeah,
like
yes.
the comments inside the discussions, like I think it allows for threading in that form.
Cool.
So do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Probably a
and
good place for this.
because we'll need to ultimately, if it, we'll probably run this in the cloud, so we'll need to give somebody a bill to pay. That we need this, we kind of sized it to be about this size amount of resources.
Okay.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
But since there's about 10 tools suggested in there, like if you want, I would suggest probably like sending that list to the Slack channel and be like, hey, which top 3 would you like us to really investigate? And then we will actually do a show and tell on only the top 3, because 10 is too much. It's too unwieldy. There'll be a lot of time wasted on this. If you only select 3, I think it's a good start.
Yeah, I think it's a good start. I agree.
I think it's also important maybe to finalize what our scope is going to be, because we have like bug tools and we have like forensic toolkits listed. So I think that once we have like the scope, it might be easier to choose, because even like the Hive is great for some stuff, but not really. It's not really like if our goal is going to be to assist like getting like people together and whatnot. It doesn't really do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Arguably,
When's our
the Hive
next-
is a good Discord community.
When's our next section 2 call? Is that next week?
Yeah,
In 2 weeks.
we had him this week, so it would be not next week, but the following week.
Okay.
Mid-November.
But we need to schedule a very special time with Art, and we need to hammer out what scope we want to commit to. I think like intake and triage is probably something we will do just so we can understand what work is coming in. And we just need to figure out the 6 services we're going to do first year and then we can line that up with tools.
And I'm
Also-
actually redoing my CERT one. Like I'm going real detailed, like you told me, and I'm using
Thank you.
Francis as an example. And I'm trying to do that with the education SIG at the same time, because Glenn pinned the other one on me too. So
It's useful. And again, when we get to execution, each milestone we can make an issue,
Mhm.
and that way we can kind of fan that out, saying, hey, Randall, will you take issue 5 and I'll take issue 20 and Francis will take issue 37.
Mhm, mhm.
And we can track progress that way and kind of hopefully work more in parallel.
Agreed.
But we'll need to
Or-
understand what the dependencies are. And that's again what I like. What Francis did is you put in some actual dependencies, which is useful for planning.
And I was going to
I think it
copy
helped.
that into my chart, that like of things like where he has 2.1 with the X. I was going to copy that 100%.
Open source it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's great is
it,
I can
make
see
it
the
yours.
rock, so I can see it.
I did not put a license on it, but go ahead and put one. Yeah, I was going to suggest, like for section 2 for Art, if he's struggling to scope this, like to scope the work and the SIG itself, like it might actually be interesting to talk to Alpha Omega, because they have direct connections with top and bottom of the stack, and they may have like really good, like I know Randall, you did some interviews with some like major folks, but it might also be interesting to get like very like heterogeneous perspective on what would be useful for folks.
Yeah.
If I may, Crop, I think that the CERT actually provides us an opportunity to bridge that gap with other community, Linux community people because like Gentoo has a security team that's very storied, being GR Security being like the head of that for a long time.
Oh, I've interacted with them for years.
They're cool people, very
Back at Red
opinionated.
Hat, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and I know like the kernel project has their thing, and you know, Red Hat has their thing, and you know, I know that like we all kind of communicate, but I think that it would be great because I like, for example, there are groups like Homebrew that don't have their own thing. Their thing is like a Slack channel on the Homebrew Slack, you know, and it's kind of like, yeah. So I think that it's a good opportunity to bridge that gap with a lot of these communities.
Well, and you know, we've talked about the solar designer lists.
Mm-hmm.
There is a very mature, well-established email-based system for how the distros talk. Well, maybe this is an opportunity for us to become a more real-time facilitator around some of that, you know, to kind of augment the list.
By the way, I got it in one of these talks that I was having, because we have a new like security nerd in Homebrew that's very involved. Apparently, one of the problems is that people are scared of us. Like when I say us, I mean like kernel project Gentoo, because of the attitude.
Yes.
So
and
I think
hopefully we can fix some of that. Again, make it frictionless to report and collaborate on this stuff, and hopefully reduce some of that anxiety and frustration.
I think it's also with a lot of younger people, because you know, us older guys have thicker skin. I would like to argue, but you know,
That's
I know a lot of people. Well,
I am unfortunately the a graybeard. Yes.
Yeah. I'm starting to get gray hairs. I'm only 32 and I already have gray hairs, but yeah, it's from being in the kernel project.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if we could facilitate that, because I have actually, I've gotten a few things like that we found problems, but do you really want to try emailing Linus and say something nasty to you in return? Like you don't know your stuff and yeah, stuff like that.
For example, like with kernel, they have a very mature, well-established team with a fairly rigorous process.
Correct.
So we could help if somebody has a type of issue, we can say, here's the rules, here's how you need to stage this interaction for success. So we can help.
Correct.
You know,
and I also want to point out that you would never email Linus in this regard. So I actually corrected him. Like, why would you? I mean, if you email Linus, of course,
security at kernel, .org.
Yeah. But I think that would be a great way for us to facilitate, because I do think there's a lot of communities out there that do find a lot of stuff and then they go, we don't know what to do with it, or they'll make their own patch, and then I found one of those problems,
that frustration and friction.
Mm-hmm.
It might genuinely be an interesting talk if you folks want to propose that for like one of the future conferences, where like, you know, as an open source fan, how do I report patches to the main, like the Big 10, whatever, you know, because like a lot of these, if not all of them, actually have policies and have documented processes around how to report. It's just that people that don't actually go the extra mile to find that document like ahead of time. For example, you were talking about the kernel security folks. They have a very, very well documented process on how to report. And they also detail how they will actually use the information and how they will work with you and so on and so forth. It's really, really nice, actually. It's one of the like well-written ones I found on the web. But again, people don't read that stuff ahead. Like they just assume quite a bit, sadly.
That's an excellent idea. And I'm getting hounded by a conference in Germany for a talk today. So maybe I will just open source it. Would you like to co-present?
When is it?
It'll be in the spring. I've done it virtually every year.
Okay, I can help write. I can help write it for sure. Just like throw me under the bus if you feel like you need a co-author.
All right. I love co-presenting.
Sounds good then. Could be fun.
All
but
right.
yeah, there might be value in that.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
And that'll be an artifact that this team potentially would leverage and like keep resharing all the time.
Why not?
And I just
Let's
want to
become a
pre-apologize if my
security.
points of view come from like somebody too obsessed with packaging, because I mean packaging is my thing. So
That's okay. Everybody's
We
got
need
a
all-
unique perspective to bring.
We need all
I
sorts around OpenSSF.
I like compiling stuff and
Mhm.
messing with compiler flags. And I'm weird. I'm
Then,
old
then
school.
why isn't our C++ guide any further, Randall?
That's because, well, I have to sit down and do it. But yes,
C++.
I can do it,
you're
right?
so
I have,
late. Just do
I'm
Rust.
allowed to go through it.
Yeah, but that's an open. So
Yeah.
we're working on a compiler guide, and we're starting with C and C++. It's been like a stub for a year.
Just
And-
move on to Rust. Abandon that.
Well, that'll be like a next thing. There's still a lot of, surprisingly, there's still a ton of C in the world.
Yeah, but it's moving, like people are moving towards Rust. Rust is actually starting to show up in the kernel.
It's like one package, it's
We had a large
small. They're being very cautious about it.
Didn't,
yeah,
didn't you see the conversation of OSS security about OpenSSL?
About OpenSSL, I did not see that.
Just have a look. There's a thread on OSS security about like, hey, what would have happened if this was written in Rust? And it's actually a genuinely constructive conversation.
That is like Mark Cox and the OpenSSL folks. And, they're on that list. So
yeah,
hopefully they see it and take that under advisement.
Yeah. But anyway.
But yeah.
Cool.
You guys know anything I could do to help? I'm always here.
Again, your offer is indeed something Crobe will leverage.
Well, I really like Crobe, so.
Well, thank you. I really like you.
All right.
Yeah.
In that case,
I'm not gonna lie to you
Shall we
guys. You
adjourn?
guys are one of the two guys I really look up to in OpenSSF. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
appreciate it. Good compliment. I'll take it.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good luck with the rest of your year, Francis. And don't be a
Thank you.
stranger.
Same to you.
Slack is open. Keybase, however you want to chat once in a while.
Absolutely. And do have fun. I don't think I own any of the documents that are being used, like the meeting notes and stuff like that. Let me know if you do bump into that.
Okay.
I think I've assigned most of them to my personal account anyway, so it should be free and open.
Okay. Cool.
But otherwise, take care.
All right.
And
Cheers.
have fun with it. Ciao, ciao.
Well, bye.
Thanks, Francis. Thanks, Crobe.